Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Other Side of Addiction podcast. I'm your host, Al Richards. And once again, I got my lovely wife over here in the corner. Don't put baby
Hello.
in the corner, but she is my host today. And we have a special co-host, Natalie.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh gosh, I'm doing great. This is my favorite day of the week.
Monday?
Well, I guess most of our shows come out on Mondays, but just so you guys know, no, it's Thursday. But Thursdays.
That's a good save.
That is a good save, huh?
Just kidding.
We're good. Yeah, we're
I
all
got
good.
jet lag.
I love it. This is why we have Natalie here with us. So Thursdays are my favorite day, and it's because I get to come in the studio. I get to have incredible hosts and guest co-hosts, and what really makes it special for me is having the guests that come on the show. You know, I said this in a podcast last week, but I was on a podcast. A gal invited me. She has a podcast called Pain to Purpose, and it's addiction type podcast. Really, really good podcast.
Which I'm going to be on tonight.
Yeah, matter of fact, Janelle's going to be on tonight as a guest. But it was another podcast that I was on. The lady asked me if I went through any kind of therapy or anything like that, support groups, while my wife was getting sober, and I said, "Yeah, it's every Thursday." And she goes, "Well, what is it?" And I'm like, "It's my podcast." And she goes, "That's your therapy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because of the incredible guests that come in and share their story. It helps me understand where other people come from a little bit more, what they went through in life, and also it helps me understand more about addiction, which helps me so I can understand my wife, what she's going through, especially on days where she might be struggling, you know, so... Yeah, this is my therapy. So I'm like a little kid Thursday. I go to the gym. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I come home and I'm showering and I'm just like all freaking giddy because I just want to get to the studio.
Yeah,
so
it's addictive a little bit. I just started my podcast, Shine All the Time, on the Giants Network, and every guest that I've had, I'm like, that was such a great therapy session.
Yeah, it is, huh?
Because, you get to know so many amazing people, and what I love is being able to share that with everybody else, because I've been a stylist for most of my adult life, so I've always shared with my clients and everything, oh, you got to meet this person, you got to read this book, you got to do that, but now I can just get it out there in one place and learn so much from everybody. So thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for taking your time, and thank you for bringing Natasha with you. Yeah, we have another beautiful young lady that's off on the sides out of the camera, but Natasha, thank you so much for being here. She's for us guys, if she got talking on this mic, because she's got that Australian accent. You know how us Yankees, as they say, how we like those Australian accents. But hey, we got a really special guest for you today. Now, Robert, I don't want to slaughter your last name because I'm terrible when it comes to words. But Robert, and how do you say your last name? Davalos. So we have Robert Davalos with us today. Robert, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your day and being with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Robert and I met, oh my gosh, it was probably November of last year, I think. I was talking with Robin and Dave from the Other Side Academy. Oh, gosh, before we get started, I forgot. This episode is brought to you by Rick Heaton, attorney at law. So I always seem to forget that. So see, we just roll with the punches here.
Totally. Divine timing.
Yeah, but I was visiting with Robin and Dave up the Other Side of Academy, and they said, "Hey, have you checked out any of our thrift stores?" And I'm like, "No," and they told me where one was at. And once I pulled up, I'm like, "Oh, this used to be like a bed store or something for like water beds or something like that." But asked for you, went up to your office, and we sat and chatted for a while, and you gave me a tour, but. This guy's got a really cool story, so I know our audience is really going to like it. But Robert, you're not originally from here, right?
No, I'm actually from San Francisco.
San Francisco, okay.
Yeah.
And that's where you were born, and yeah, she went woot woot because she loves the Niners.
There you go.
Yeah, she's a Niners fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You as well, yeah.
Yes.
So you were born and raised in...
Yeah, born and raised in San Francisco. basically in the Bayside area or the Mission District,
Okay.
and kind of stayed in that little circle right there.
Now, is the Mission District, is that the one that's over close to where, like, the stadium is for the 49ers? Or the old stadium?
No, that's actually the Bayview where I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the Hunters Point, Bayview area. Yeah.
All right. What was life like growing up? I mean, what was family life like?
Well, I think it would be easier to say that family life for me was growing up in a very drug controlled environment. I mean,
Okay.
Both parents, the aunts, uncles, families, cousins, it was either who was getting out or who just got busted. As children, watching the adults throwing all the heroin in the balloons. Just kind of being exposed to it as what I know now is not normal, but for me, that's just what life was. We dressed up and got into our Catholic school uniforms and went to school every day. And the household was totally different behind closed doors.
Wow.
So I never understood that part.
Right, I don't think
You're-
any of us do
you're-
until
you're-
we get
you're-
older and we're picking up all the
Yeah.
pieces and putting them back
Yeah, it's
together.
crazy.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
poisoning half of the city,
Yep.
and we're doing our Catholic school thing. It just didn't,
Huh.
it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And so even at a young age, you were kind of like questioning it, right? Like, how is this possible?
Well, at a young age, I don't even think I questioned it, I just went with it. It was
Okay.
pretty cool to have parents that drank and done drugs, and you get to stay up and you just you were like a little baby adult, or going with your father to the bar and hanging out at the pool table, and all you can do is see the felt at eye level, and you thought you were doing big things, and
Yeah.
hanging out in a booth or a pinball machine. I mean, to me, that was like I was the guy.
Hmm.
All the other kids wish they were me.
And did that kind of make you feel like superior in a way that you were
Oh.
being looked up to and at such a young age?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
The cars, my dad always, hate to say it for moms, but he always had his girlfriends, and then even their relationship was crazy because, nobody could talk back to mom, but he could beat her.
Wow.
It's just kind of,
Yeah.
didn't make any sense.
That's kind of like the family.
I just lost sound.
Oh, you lost sound?
That's nothing.
Mess with. Oh, I hear you.
We can hear you.
You can hear me, but I can't hear me.
Babe, mess with excuse us guys, but mess with the plug a little bit.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of like the family that I, grew up with. We weren't allowed to talk back to my mom, but my dad was able to,
Do what he wants.
yeah. I mean, not saying he ever beat her because we never saw that, but, he could put her down in front of people or do whatever, and
Yeah, just,
yeah,
it wasn't right.
yeah.
You look back at it now, but I mean, yeah, your dad, he can have all the girlfriends in the world, but if your mom even looked at somebody, she was a whore.
Yeah.
It just,
Yeah, I kind of grew up that way too. I watched, my aunt got married to a man whose family was not from America. Anyways, watched her get beat, and she was beautiful, woman and really respected. Luckily, she didn't stay married for very long, but I was probably about 11 the first time I saw it, and she was pregnant, and he was beating her, and he was a professional boxer, or well, I don't know if he was professional, but he locally,
he did a good
you know what
number
I'm
on
saying.
her, right?
Yeah, but it just really stuck in my head, like that was a thing in my head,
Yeah.
You can't unsee those things.
Oh no. There's a song by Christina Aguilera that kind of talks about that with the family life she went through, how she never knew what she was coming home to on a daily basis, basically.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, he would
Yeah.
disappear for weekends and then show
Yeah.
up,
yeah. So, what age was it for you, Robert, when you kind of started getting into the same type of, I guess, business as you were saying that pretty much your whole family was in, right?
Yeah, it was just a way of life. I don't even know if you want to call it a business or this. I mean, I know that we wanted for nothing. But I do know that I think, we could say 10, 11, 12, drinking off of what they had. In fact, they thought it was funny if you grabbed a beer and drank a beer, they had the
Yeah.
bottle, hey, or they thought it was comical. And then, of course, I don't know if it was hard drugs first. I think I went the latter with, smoking their pot and stealing their pot. And that's where it came from. They left it laying around.
Yeah.
But I know that by the time I was 13, I was already serving 14 months. So I
At
was
the age
already,
of 13.
and I had already been to juvenile a couple of times before that.
Wow.
And you spend the night one day, and your parents come and pick you up, and then you go the second time, and you might stay a week. Then it goes to 30 days, and then you spend 60 days. And then your parents just say keep it. Until
Wow,
you
yeah.
get to be on parental control, and because everybody freestyled it, so why couldn't I?
Yeah, no kidding.
Everybody else did what they wanted.
Yeah.
So it was one of those kind of things where, and then I think the defining moment of my career and on the other side of being right
Yeah. Yeah.
was when I got picked up by my father and my uncles, and it was just kind of like I got praised for not being a snitch, for taking,
Wow.
doing my time and
Yeah.
being a man. Of course they had a little escort waiting for me, and the first sexual experience was something that was paid for, which was completely embarrassing and humiliating and everything. It was just like, it was terrifying, but at the same time, I had arrived.
Yeah.
And
You finally hit the big time.
You
right?
had their
And
acceptance.
I couldn't wait to get in trouble again if this is how what being
Yeah. I
You
can
know
see,
what I
I can
mean?
see
I
that.
love
at
it. Yeah,
such
I
a
do know
young,
what you mean.
Yeah,
I do.
young man. Yeah.
I was like, I had arrived, and it was like, the experience is unforgettable, but it's like I couldn't wait, and I had no fear. I was my dad's son.
Wow.
I was Pachi's son, so and that's what everybody knew me as,
That's Pachi's son.
Little Bob, yeah.
So your dad had a really good reputation.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
He was.
people
he was,
knew him, yeah.
He was doing his thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say he was gaudy, but
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was in our little neighborhood. He was okay,
Wow.
and I was in. So
What was throwing you in jail at such a young age? Was it wasn't just, was it because of the
It
pot
was-
smoking, or
well,
was
no. I
No,
mean, I was
okay.
already selling coke and selling, dollar joints, and I mean, I had gotten into it. It was just easy.
Yeah,
It
of
was
course.
easy. It was plentiful. My mom sold the coke, and my dad had the heroin. So it's kind of nice when you can get a front from your mom.
Yeah, that would be.
They give you a little eight ball, and then
Yeah.
she gets
Give me
her.
a bump.
It was just kind of like, it was normal. I was in. I was an adult, but I was a child.
Yeah.
I had no concept of where it was going to take me in life and how it was going to end up. I had no concept of the hole I was digging for myself that would almost be impossible to get out of. So yeah, I mean, my crimes were robberies, my crimes were assaults, my crime was, intoxication. I know when I got deep into my addiction, it wasn't about making money anymore, it was about taking care of my habit. So things have changed, you feel like a superstar, and then, your full-time occupation is staying well,
Yeah.
and surviving and trying to look good. And to the point to where, I could say simply the next 25 years was, I ended up on 6th and Mission, so that I could feel better about myself as, when I paroled, or in between paroling, is sitting there with them. And I hate to say it, drunk or somebody that's living on the street or homeless person, but that's what I needed to feel just a little bit better about myself. Somebody that was a little bit, I felt beneath myself. But I actually, I belonged right where I was at.
Right.
In that doorstep with absolutely nothing. And the only thing clean I had was because I had just paroled. So, it's just got some kind of an ego booster. I had $10 and he had nothing. So I felt a little bit better. So that's how, I went all the way from one spectrum to, in the end,
Wow.
to just being completely just hopeless. And I did better in prison. I was a bigger and better person when I was in prison than I was because I just didn't know how to function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old was you when you finally, I mean, as they used to call it back in the days, I don't know if they still call it, like hit the big house to where they finally just said, what you've done is enough, you're in now.
Oh, I got charged as an adult. So I was catching. Yeah, I got charged as a juvenile. So.
As soon as you turned 18, is that what?
No, actually, when I was 17, I
Oh.
went from youth authority to Tracy to actually DVI, what they call gladiator school. So the juveniles that actually had to learn how to cope with the adults.
Wow.
And I was a Northern Hispanic, so I was already wearing a red bandana and doing what I thought was what all the other fellows were doing.
Yeah, of course.
And when I got to prison, it got real. It got real. I mean, what we were doing was totally different. It did become a life and death thing. But it was exciting. It was, once again, you were somebody and you knew a bunch of people, because I wasn't like the new kid. I was somebody that grew up with these guys that were there. I had family that was there, so it was just, hey,
Yeah,
they
it's like a reunion.
give me my
almost.
little nickname. Yeah, it was crazy. It's insane thinking back on what we thought was exciting moments.
Wow.
Getting a little package from all the guys, and here I am in R&R, so already everybody else is with nothing, and you got your little stuff already. Oh my God, he knows people. It's crazy who I thought I was, and how they influenced that, your outer circle.
I like how you just said that. It was crazy who you thought you was. That's what you said.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had no clue.
yeah.
But at that moment, I thought I was somebody. I believed it to my core that this was my calling, that this is what we do, and I'm going to be big, whatever they wanted to call me at the time.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going to do, and if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it good. I'm going to be bad and be all the way bad.
Of
So
course.
you were already.
Yeah.
Had you had the opportunity, sorry.
No, you're good now.
I look at that as like I hear conditioning, like you were conditioned, you forgot who you were. I believe like when we come to earth, we know who we are, and then we're raised by our parents, and we're conditioned to believe like, oh, this is who you have to be to fit into this family and to survive and to like be cool or whatever the situation
A
is.
Hispanic family, you have to, that's just...
Yeah, and I've grown up
the way
around
it
that. I'm
goes,
from Ogden.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So that should explain it all.
You know what I'm
Ogden.
saying? My mom was a
Ogden.
bartender. Yeah.
Yeah.
25th Street. Yeah, I mean, my mom was a bartender growing up, and my grandma was, and so was my aunt. And then they all put their kids on missions, too. Like, it was just crazy. But,
Yeah, that's another
so I
conversation.
totally get, and then my brother went to, was in Moita, is what they called it, or juvenile, whatever, and turned 18 during that time for marijuana,
Yeah.
So something that my dad's nickname is Hippie. So he's
Wow.
so, but he turned 18 in the system, and then he learned how to live in jail. Now he's good. He said that was the best thing that ever happened to him because it turned his life around, luckily. But it just the stories. He's like, everything that I learned in jail, like.
Yeah. So true.
And he was such a good kid. It was marijuana, and not to discredit, but
Yeah.
definitely didn't belong where he was. Like, there's so much other stuff that they could have done to help him, but my parents just didn't know like what that could be like. I don't feel like locking him up in Moita was like the right thing to do at all, but.
And I like how you said, Natalie, about it's the belief systems, because I come from a family too that, I mean, I remember going to church, LDS family, going to church every Sunday, Sunday school. All of a sudden one day my dad's done. He's not going. Just what they teach you. And they're just doing the best that they can.
Right, sure.
And it's not knocking anybody's parents, because again, who gives us a frickin' owner manual that says, hey, step by step, this is how you're supposed to be a good parent.
My mom
we do the
raised
best
us
that we
on
can,
barman, like tip money, you know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
didn't lack for anything, and she knew everybody in town, and and they all respected her, you know, and still do. Like, it wasn't like I was in a dangerous or bad situation,
Yeah.
you know, but it was just different. And I'm grateful, like, to see both sides of life. But at the same time, like, we don't get a chance to find ourselves, to be children, to, like, you are, you know, you survived when you went to prison because of who you are, but you are that anyways. Like, you would be that anywhere in the world that you had given the right opportunities and support and stuff like that. So that's how I see it.
So, and I'm glad you brought all that up, because I think that's almost even kind of like what you were saying. That's like a whole nother conversation with the belief systems, because if you look in the word belief, the word lie is in there.
Right.
I mean, really, what is true, what is not true? Hell, I don't know. I'm coming up on 59 and I still haven't figured it out, you know, to be honest
It's
with
all
you.
about perception.
Yeah, the perception. So you're in prison. Now, there's got to be a time while you're there, I'm just thinking, I don't know if it is, but maybe your brain starts clicking and it starts changing gears to go off to a different direction, where you're thinking, man, is this how I really want to live my life? Because right before, you were saying that you were somebody, and you, like, this is my calling. I'm going to be the frickin' top of the top, and people are going to be coming to me, you know? I mean, you were already kind of manifesting what you figured your life was going to be, right?
Yeah, I really, really wanted to. Yeah, I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to. I mean, I don't know if it's a self-esteem thing. I can't figure out what drove me, other than the fact that, like I told you when I met you, I thought everything I did was normal because of what I saw, and it's not an excuse.
Do you feel like you kind of felt more love from your dad or mom? Like, if you're like, oh, they're picking you up from here, and here's this, you know, escort, like, is that the only acceptance that they showed you? Or do you feel like, because I know that Mexican families are very familial and, like, close.
Yeah.
Did you have that, aside from the drugs?
I think we had more of a friendship. Love wasn't a common word. In fact, I still don't use it.
Oh, well.
So that's just one of those things. I always believe that I've heard so much of it that I think it's an action word. It's something that, you know, you would know.
It is.
I
by
could see
somebody
how
how
you
they
think
act.
that. Oh, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
you know, it's just kind of,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. Stop. It's just like so
Yeah.
just overused. But I do know that it was just normal what I did, and the belief system was my new group of people that I was running with. They were my family. They were the ones that were there when times got rough, when you know you really needed people. You can count on them, but then again, that's all we had anyway. So, you know, how you adapt to
I
the
can
situation
see that, though.
that
It
you're
is,
in.
yeah.
How you can adapt to your situations and where you're at. And, you know. Yeah.
Wow. Jan, you got anything? I mean, you're quiet again, huh?
Well, everybody else is talking.
Oh. I could see your wheels turning over
No,
there.
I just
though.
went. The only thing I was thinking about is that, so I've been in jail a few times, but not prison. But I was just wondering, when you were in jail or prison, that's where you learned it all, right? I mean, because for me, I was just an alcoholic. But then when I went to jail or rehab, either one, that's where I learned all about the other kind of drugs and, you know, all that.
My mom said the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
You-
was
they
actually
don't-
traumatic for her to go there because she saw things that to jail.
Yeah.
But she saw things that she was like, you know, never thought you never wanted to see, you know, and you can't unsee those things,
Yeah.
but also learned, like, how to survive, you know?
Yeah.
So
So-
what was your question again?
That was my question, is that if he learned it all there.
No,
I mean-
I learned how to get better there.
That's
You
what
already knew.
that's kind of what I mean,
And
what I meant.
I learned how to get better there, and I had more connections.
Yeah.
My phone book just got bigger.
Yeah.
But I'm also the guy that really didn't do well when it came to being functioning on the street, because I was incarcerated over 20 years. And I'm the guy that would stay in the county jail for 2 years so I don't have to go to prison, so that I can get my visits and get my drugs while I was in.
Right.
So you knew
So
how to.
I'd rather operate that way
Yeah.
in the county jail and still continue to what I thought was, be earning a little money and getting ready to go do my time, or just entertaining myself.
Right.
So, I mean, like I said, I've got family members or people that say that they felt safer when I was in prison because they knew I was okay there.
Mm-hmm.
And they never knew what was going to happen or what phone call they'd get when I was out for the little brief moments that I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't stay out too long.
And that's Al had said that to me
Yeah.
a few times. When I was in jail, he's like, "I'm glad when you're in jail because I know you're safe." And so, yeah.
Yeah, because one of the scariest moments, well, not one of them, there was a lot of them, but, when she'd get so drunk, I finally got to the point where I just had to kick her out, And that is so hard because this is a person that you love and you care about, and you don't want them around. And as drunk as she would get, I would kick her out so I could have some peace, but I still didn't have peace.
Yeah.
Because then I'm sitting home going, man, what if she just comes across the wrong person and they grab her and throw her in a truck or a van or a car and they take her home and they put her in a shed, they lock her up, they could rape her as many times as they,
That
all
can
these
happen
thoughts,
in jail too.
Well, yeah.
You're not safe in jail.
But all these thoughts started coming into, and as long as she was calling me, and I wouldn't answer the phone, I wouldn't accept her calls for a long time, but as long as I was getting those, I'm going, okay, she's somewhere, she's got a roof over her head, I know someone's not going to grab her and she's going to disappear.
Right.
So yeah, it would also kind of make me feel a little bit better as well, knowing that she was there. But would
At least you knew where she was at.
at least I knew where she was at. Yeah, exactly, Robert. Yeah. Did your parents and stuff come and visit you when you were in?
Yes and no. There was one in the very beginning. See, I shut everybody off. I decided I wanted to be a gangster, and I decided I had made decisions.
G-Money.
This is what I'm going to do. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm going to do. And it did, on the inside, what nobody would ever know is that it did bother me that I was away and they were there. So why do I want a phone call? Why do I want to know? It's easier to start this training and just block them all out.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I've got myself into, so this is what I'm going to do. They don't exist. I mean, I would refuse visits. I would get, there was a couple of them that I would get, and then it's like realizing, seeing people walk away, and it's just kind of, you don't want to put yourself through that.
Right.
Yeah.
That was hard for me whenever he only visited me maybe once or twice, but
Twice,
every time he visited me, that was so hard. I mean, it was hard on both levels because I didn't want to see him leave, but I also didn't want him to be in that position because I was a good guy. He's never been in jail. He's never, been in trouble with the law. And so it was like, I don't want to make him have to go down to my level,
Right.
And so, yeah, I get it.
I remember the first time I went and saw her. I think it was a surprise. I don't think you knew I was coming. And I remember going through the whole routine, and then sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and sitting there, and finally they let us in and walk down this huge hallway and then turn and walk down another freaking huge hallway, and then you come into like a dome area and there's these doors and you've got your number and you wait and you buzz it in, you walk down another freaking hall and you get there and there's a stainless steel table and chair and this glass, and you can hear shit going on the other side. You can't see anything, but you can hear, and then pretty soon she's buzzed and she comes in, and it was almost like all the frickin' blood in my body just hit my feet. It just, to see this person that I love and I care about
In a jumpsuit.
behind a piece of glass that's like this thick. And I mean, I just remember how it's almost like I could feel my heart breaking just right there. It's like, what the is going on? I mean, why do I have a relationship like this? You know, I mean, I didn't marry this woman to put up with this kind of shit. You know, I mean, I had enough with my other
Till
ex-wives.
death do you part.
Right, yeah, till death do you part. But I believe I even remember telling her right before I left, I'm like, you will not see me here again.
Yeah.
I will not. As much as I'd like to see you, I don't want to see. I don't want that picture in my head that this is how I'm seeing you. You know, and it's like I'm not coming back here again. You will not see my face. And I think I did cave
You
in
did
and do
come
one
back.
more time, but yeah, it was too tough.
Yeah.
You know, I think that what I'm hearing, like, too, and because I've had experienced that with my mom, like, you know, she was a great mom. She, all of the things, and it wasn't until she was in her 50s that she went to jail, or 60s maybe. So, like, seeing my mom and my kid's grandma and, like that, and seeing her face, and it was just a totally different person. Like, it was so traumatic, but I feel like that is, like, the missing little link there, because, so I help people transition through things, you know, like divorce or whatever you're going through. Seems like I've kind of experienced a lot of it. So jail time, like transitioning, going in and going out, like it was traumatic for my mom to be in jail, and so who's there for her to talk to besides, you know, guards or whatever? Like, that's, you know what I mean? That's not helping the person that's in jail, right? And then if they're offered a Xanax in there or something by somebody that has, you know, that's what they're gonna do. That's not.
Yeah, he got a smile. I
Yeah.
said,
Whatever
get a
they
grin
You and
on
my
his
mom would
face.
get along great. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. But, you know, because of her anxiety, like, that's like she, like, you know.
Yeah.
But and then, like, getting out of jail, it's like she had a record now, you know, and she had this and that, and so, you know, my family was all about, like, tough love, you know. No. Like, and there is a fine line between, like, enabling somebody and this and that. And for people like you that are probably really sensitive, because myself is the same way, if I'm in a jail cell, I can feel everybody's stuff, you know, and including yours, and that's painful. But that is what is going to help us understand each other, is feeling those things. Because, you know, we're not in this, we're all one. We're not in this alone.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to face, like, scary things, like reality. Like, if everybody knew what went on in jail or prison, the world, we kind of all have, like, an understanding, but, like, where's that little boy at in there, you know? Where's that little girl, or whatever the situation is? Or, you know, I look at my mom knowing her whole life story, and I'm just like, wow, like, that happened so fast that she got to that point, you know. And it was just because, like, she had me when she was 16, you know, and then it was this, like, survival mode. And like, again, I had a great childhood. Like, I have nothing to blame my mom for anything, but she took all that in on herself, and then it got to the point where she self-sabotaged because she just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Everything she was stuffing down for whatever happened to her from whatever time in her life, you know, just came out. And then it just, like, when she got out, it was like finding a job and being in normal society. No, you can't do that. Like, first of all, the systems make it almost impossible to do that.
Yeah.
And second of all, like, you're dealing with, like, life away from being an addict too. And they just throw people out there sometimes.
I like how you said the sabotage. Did you feel like when you were in prison that, a thought, did it ever cross your mind, like, I just sabotaged my whole freaking life? I mean, look where I've gone. No, you
No.
didn't, because your mind was already
this
set.
guy.
Yeah,
I wasn't there yet.
yeah, yeah.
There was no, no.
Yeah.
I was all in. It was exciting at first. It wasn't towards, before I decided to do something different. But I had wasted 2 decades, of, getting to that place where I told you I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
To where I ended up, doing the last 8 or 9 years of my time validated and doing a shoe term, to where any time that I was in custody, I lived in a bathroom. I was in a box by myself, and that was how I did it no matter where I went. So it was like, this is the top. This is as close as I'm gonna get to the top. And so if you can't even play well with others in prison, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when you do some thinking. I mean, at least they're walking the track, they're playing handball, they get to get their commissary, and you know.
But not you. You just kind of stuck right there.
with nothing. It's like, duh. You know?
And is that because maybe growing up you had to like maybe do that? Sorry.
Yeah.
Squeezing. That, you know, like when there's stuff going on in your home, like your parents are doing their thing or whatever, you just like go to your bedroom or like make
No,
yourself not seen, or I mean,
I had
okay.
no choice because of the things I was doing. They took me out. They took me off of the line as a threat to the institution. And as I'll just say,
Were you mean?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Well, to make it to where you wanted to go, you had to be there.
with
Yeah,
the-
and I
with
understand
the group
that,
of people
totally,
that I
yeah.
ran with,
Yeah,
so if
totally.
they didn't want us around anybody else. And the guys, and rightfully so.
Right, right.
We made people's lives hard when they should have. It was hard enough just doing time. So I see it differently now. And, you know, the monster.
I'm
that I
sure you
was
do,
is
but do you
different.
treat people different now and like have
Oh,
more
of
understanding
course.
and
Of course.
empathy? Yeah. So
Absolutely.
look at what, you know, like to rise above that, like now you got this scary man who everybody was scared of for a long time, who's like understands people, and like the lives that you probably touch now are like, do you understand what I'm saying?
It's way more meaningful right now.
Right, yeah.
And it's even in the middle of my so-called career. I mean, we can say that people were afraid of me or they could be intimidated, but at the same time, I had gotten to a point to where I also had hidden fear. Because if I didn't perform, then I would be the victim. So there was things that I did only out of utter survival, so somebody else had to pay for what I didn't want done to me if I didn't do it. So it was like you act one way and then you go back to your cell, or you know, and you have to live with that. You know, the suffering that was inflicted on other people. So you're either the victimizer or you become a victim,
Yeah.
and you put yourself completely at the mercy of this group. Which is just something that, you know, you raise your hand for, and then once you're in. It's
So
just
were
too
you
late.
in a gang?
Yes.
So is that hard to get out of?
Well, I mean, I can say
You don't have
towards.
to talk about it if you
Yeah.
don't want
No. Well, I mean, I kind of think it's one of the moments to where we can talk about all the bad stuff, or we can talk about the good stuff.
We
And
can.
Yeah.
I would much rather talk
Yeah.
about
Talk about-
when I got out of it,
Let's talk about that.
which was, well, I mean, you know, we can all compare notes on crimes and stuff. That's, anybody can do that.
Yeah.
But I think what happened was, I think I'll start with, I'm on high control. Well, go ahead.
How about this? So we've been on for a half hour. Let's take a quick commercial break,
Okay, great.
because I think this would be a great time for us to come in and
Yeah,
go, hey,
absolutely.
when did that light bulb go off where you're going,
Yeah.
you know what, man, life's got to freaking change, and I don't want to do this. And then let's go into the good stuff, because what you have shared so far, I mean, when I first met you, Robert, a couple months ago, what you were sharing with me, I'm looking at this man talking to me, and I'm going, man, I don't see that in him. Just, you know, just from our conversation, your demeanor, how you hold yourself,
Yeah, I'm like, he's such a
how
teddy bear.
respectful you
You
are.
were mean?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but again, that's what I think, that's what's really cool about this
Yeah.
podcast, is people are vulnerable enough to say, hey, this is who I used to be. It's
Yeah.
not who I am now,
I love
you know,
that.
but what they did to get themselves to that point. So can we save that until we get back?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I look
guys,
forward-
stay with us. We'll be right back.
Have you ever been in a car accident? Do you know what to do after being in a car accident? Are the insurance companies going to take care of you? Hi, I'm attorney Rick Heaton with the Law Office of Bobby Udall. I will help you through the process and answer all of these questions. I give every single client my cell phone so they can talk to me whenever they need. Let me deal with the insurance company so you can focus on getting better from your injuries. Call me at 385-330-0226. Again, my cell phone number, 385-330-0226. Don't call the insurance company first. Call attorney Rick Heaton at 385-330-0226.
This is Gregory, owner of Lift Up Concrete, proudly serving the Wasatch Front for the last 12 years, lifting sunken flatwork for both residential and commercial applications. Only fully trained professionals lifting concrete at your residence with the same quality of material and method used at every commercial job we ever do. Don't replace it, lift it. liftupconcrete.net, 801-792-4535. Contact us at liftupconcrete.net, or if you're looking for a complimentary quote, 801-792-4535. Again, 801-792-4535. Again, this is Gregory, Lift Up Concrete Lifting.
Hello, my friends. This is Brad Neufeld, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Resilience Talk Network. You can listen to my show, Resilience, every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. On my show, we will be discussing what it takes for you to overcome the day-to-day challenges that all of us face in life, as well as some of the devastating ones that may lead us to feelings of hopelessness and despair. It's my goal to provide you with the tools and skills that you need to overcome anything that is thrown your way. To find out more about my show, visit our website at www.resiliencetalk.com. That's www.resiliencetalk.com. And as always, until we meet again, go for everything that you want in life and make it happen.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Other Side of Addiction. We are here with our special guest, Robert Davalos. Say that again? Davalos. I told you I'd slaughter names. Davalos. Yeah, Davalos. And I can see that. Hey, again, this episode is brought to you by Rick Heaton, attorney at law. Great guy. We hope nobody gets into an accident, but if you are looking for a personal injury guy, please give Rick a call. I can vouch for him, because he's married to my daughter, as you guys have heard many times on this show. So he's just a great guy. So, gosh, Robert, the first part of the show, I mean, you had me so focused on everything that you were saying, and of course I want to do that with every guest, but you just had me so intrigued of where life kind of started out with you, and you decided, man, this is who I'm going to be, and I'm going to be the best damn whatever they call it right here at the top. And when was that moment? You shared right before we went to a commercial break. You said, I was stuck in this little basically bathroom, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I spent the end of my career in the hole, or the secure housing units.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with that. And I just didn't actually play well with others. I ended up being alone, and that wasn't my whole concept. Was to be surrounded by people, or to be a part of. As far as my life beginning, I don't even know if my beginning was up to this point. I think my life actually started when I decided to make some changes, and I think the lead up to that was the last time that I paroled. Well, the second to last time that I paroled from San Quentin. I was in the hole, and they brought me down, and they're going to release me for Thanksgiving. And this is unheard of. I'm high control. I get paroled to parole officers. They drive me down to the parole department so they can say they've done their job, because I'm not a guy that ever shows up. You let me out, I'm out. Catch me when you can.
Right.
That's just the way that the rules go. And they made a mistake. They're going to kick me out with the holiday kick out. I called my dad immediately when I was in the holding there. And I says, come and get me. They effed up. I'll be out there at the bus stop. Come and get me now. So an hour and a half later, my dad shows up. What do you want to do? Let's go get my son. We got my son. And we went down to 16th and Mission and got some heroin and some coke.
Wow.
That's how insane my life had become, to where I would take my son to a $20 by the hour room and go get loaded with your father and celebrate their fuck ups.
Yeah.
My language.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm going to start this. We spent the next 2 days, because I was supposed to go up to Oregon, do the family thing. That didn't happen. My dad wasn't crying my dog anyway, so it wasn't like, we just did our thing. I ended up getting arrested 2 days later, never made it home. Went back to, I had the bright idea that I could go pass a dirty test real quick and then give me another week's running room. So I showed up for parole. They kept me. Of course, I was in bad shape.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing my son and my dad. They took me into custody. I went back to San Quentin. 3 days later. And then it was like maybe a week later, my dad died of a massive heart attack.
Oh, wow.
So I drug him back into the drug world. He was trying to be good. He was trying to do the right thing, and instead, come on, man, just go do a little bit, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And he died, and he was with my son. So my son never made it home. They did their little thing, and I found this out while I was in a box on a tier. I decided then, I think at that moment, I'd never been hurt like that, I don't think. Or maybe I did, I was just good at covering it up. But that was like a hole in my heart, and it was just made me so angry, like you said, what you were getting,
Yeah.
that I wanted to, literally, I wanted to take the guard's life for telling me. I wanted to, the group that I was involved with, I could care less about. It was just like, why? Everything had led up to that moment, why? And when they called out, you know, my name at the end of the night, you know, we do a little roll call and everybody, I didn't answer. And I knew what I was doing. So, and very cold and very doing their job. I was now a threat to them. They said, it's like that. I said, it's like that. I'll see you in the morning. I went out to the yard in the morning, and I got my face sliced. I got shot with a dummy bullet, and they were gonna take me out for being a dropout. I decided that I was done. I didn't have to go to the yard, but I still thought of who I was. I
Yeah.
could have just stayed in my cell.
Right.
But I had such a chip on my shoulder of who I thought I was. I went out there and I got hurt being the so-called man. I was put into protective custody. I had signed my own warrant and decided I was going to do something different. I didn't know what. I was later given the opportunity. I was released. I did a pretty ugly little sentence there. I was released and went back to the county jail again. And because I didn't know how to act, I didn't know how to cope with reentry.
Right.
Because I never really cared about staying out.
Right.
Didn't have a clue about, you know, you need a job, you have a son you got to take care of, you have a partner. It just, and none of it made any sense. I was lost had no clue on what to do, especially after spending all those years incarcerated.
Right.
I was given the opportunity to go to, once again, because of my custody level, because I was now a wanted man by my own group of people.
Yeah.
They put me into protective custody in the county jail in San Mateo. And I was given the opportunity by a gang coordinator, Jose Santiago. I'll never forget his name because he's a gentleman that ruined my mainline career by doing his job, by putting me in a box, but in the end said, I'm about to retire. Let me do something for you. You know, because it became a professional. He did his job, I did mine. I had grown up, I wasn't a kid anymore.
Yeah.
And he, even though I'm a dropout, he can't talk to me, you're a cop. Get off my doors, get off my doors, get off my door. It turned out to where he helped me get into the Delancey Street program. I decided to do something, you know, it made sense. He got me an interview. I went to a program called the Choices Program that was in custody. Now they took me out of the hole. I was a validated gang member, the first one. And they told me, if you're so down for your people, then why don't you get 2 more guys out of the hole and prove that you can do this program without messing up.
I love that.
So he called me on my own
I
stuff.
love that.
Love that,
put me
yeah.
in
Saw
my
in
corner.
you too
He put me in my
what
corner.
you could shift that, like where you were, what you could do with
Because I
that.
had bought the lie.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to believe the same thing, I think, but go instead of being for the negative. Because if you're in a gang, they don't teach you how, they don't give you an education, they don't teach you about family other than staying in. They kind of want to keep, they don't educate, we don't do anything to make anybody better except for making them worse. He wanted me to flip that, and if you're down for your people, then get a couple of them out, and I'll give you my word. You do this program right, you pick 2 guys that you think won't be a threat to your new program, and we'll pull them out, start a different thing.
I love it.
That is so cool.
And I went to the program, and I stayed there almost a year. The judge, instead of giving me the 3 strikes, 25 to life on my new case, they let me go to Delancey Street Foundation for 2 years.
Wow.
I stayed for 15.
Wow.
That seems to happen a lot in
I
a
stayed
place
for
like Delancey.
15 years because I never knew what life was all about. I had no clue on being decent. My character was completely distorted. My principles and my life was so distorted that I didn't know that, if you make it about other people, that your life will become good.
Did it take a little bit of time once you were in Delancey Street? Because I remember Dave, when he was here on the show,
Yeah.
he was saying he was out having to do this yard work, and somebody come out when he was in Delancey Street and told him he had to pick up the dog shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, who the hell? No, yeah, I mean, all the old thoughts started coming in his head, like, yeah, I'll come pick it up and shove it right in your mouth or something. But
Yeah.
he's like, it took that little bit of time to start washing away the old beliefs to start bringing in the new beliefs.
Well, you don't spend 20 years or plus working as hard as you've ever in your whole life to become a monster. It doesn't just go away with good intentions or thought.
Yeah, that's what I
mean,
wanted to hear. Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't go away. Yes, I had hard moments. Here I was in a very racially segregated set for all these years, and now all of a sudden you go to Delancey Street and it's like, oh my shit, what is going on here? You got the ABs and NF, you got the Blackarella family, you got all these, they're sworn to kill each other, North and South, Bloods and Crips, and they're all playing dominoes and chess and ping pong and pulling each other up. Hey, don't do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Giving each other corrections and pull-ups. And
Yeah.
it was just like looking at, there's something wrong here.
Yeah, like it's got to be like night and
It was
day.
night and day and some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, at 450, it could be a prison yard. Not that Delancey is anything like a prison. It was a wonderful place. But it's just like you go into that dining room and you see all these people that are sworn to kill each other. And some of these people you knew and you thought they were dead. And here they are doing something different. And it was just an incredible environment. It's not easy. If they put you on a plate and told you to eat it, it doesn't taste too good. And it's hard to get that, to have people tell you actually the truth instead of blowing smoke up your rear.
Yeah.
And tell you the truth on who you are and how you operate, what a slimy manipulator you are, how selfish you can be, how lazy you can be. I mean, all the above. And have somebody tell you the truth. And all they're doing is helping you to recognize it so that you can change it and accept it.
Robert, and I'm glad you brought that up. So I was very blessed to be invited by Dave and Robin to come out and talk. Do you guys call them students?
Yes.
So to come out, and it was, I don't know, right around the first part of December of last year, but got there, they fed us, the people who made the Navajo tacos that day. Oh my gosh, those are probably some of the best Navajo
They
tacos
were
I've ever
good.
eaten. But they took us on a tour, and it was with staff, people that went there to get well, and that they stayed, which pretty much is the whole staff that's there. But they put us in this room, and they had these chairs in a circle.
They play the game with you?
Oh yeah,
they played a game with him.
me. So I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's like, "Do you want the G version or the X version?" I'm like, "You guys give it to me however you would give if I came here. You give it to me the way that you're supposed to do it." And all of a sudden, someone just barks out, and I was like, "Boom!" And this guy's nailing me, then this girl's nailing me, and this guy's nailing me, and I don't know how long it went on, but as I'm sitting there, I could start feeling little teeny beads of sweat starting to come on my forehead.
It was bad.
And I could remember doing this, bouncing my knee, and then realize it, and then stop it, and then bouncing. But
It's intense.
they got done, and they're like, "How do you feel?" I went, "I didn't even do any of this shit, and I feel guilty as hell. I mean, this is what you guys do?"
How is this helping?
I mean, no, seriously.
Yeah.
I walked in there on a pedestal, not saying I was above everybody else, but
Right.
I was just feeling good about
Yeah.
myself. And then by the time they were done, I literally felt like I was that big. And it was just the program, how the program works. But I was like, oh my freaking hell. And I've seen some of the videos, of the circle and a few things, but man, when it's really happening to you, like you said,
Yeah,
they call you out on your
not
shit.
Everybody gets to see that.
Yeah, it was powerful. Powerful.
Yeah, to have your peers address you accordingly and to actually with a little bit of passion, because some of us can, "Are you done yet?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
okay, I get it, right? But when you get some heat
Or they trigger you.
and you start to really like, "Oh my God, they're upset. I'm disappointed them. I've angered them," and you really don't want to do that to your family.
Yeah.
So it has a different effect. Because some of us need to get rattled a little bit to actually listen, or to pay attention. So, yeah, it's the best thing in the world.
So, you said you spent
I spent 15 years
15
in
years.
Delancey Street total, and I spent a year in the Choices program, which the judge was not going to send me to Delancey Street. I knew this, but I figured I'd go to prison a different person. And I was fighting a 3 strikes, so it was a 25 life, like my third one, so I was done.
Wow.
So I had accepted that. In fact, I took an 18-year deal so that I could get out one more time. It's the kind of person I was. It was like 18. I didn't even think, I'm not fighting. It's like
Yeah.
3 strikes, you don't even have a date. You're at their mercy to let you out. So I'm getting, at least I know when I'm going home. But I ended up getting to go to Delancey Street. And I stayed for 2 years, and I was getting it. I think I was getting it. They asked me to stay a 3rd year, or what did I want to do? I didn't want to stay the drug addict. I just beat 18-year sentence, wanted to get out. But then I knew that I was, I wasn't ready.
So even
I
after
really-
2 years, you still knew.
No, I was I was a mess. But I also had a great life. I got to experience what a great life was. So I decided to stay a 3rd year, and then after that, they didn't even ask me. I just stayed. And at 5 years, I thought they were sending me away. I guess that's how insecure you can be. You think you're at the top of the world, and then they want to send me to New York. And I didn't realize they were sending me to New York to run the facility. It's like an honor. But what did I do wrong?
In New York?
Yeah, so I got to run the New York facility for 10 years.
Wow.
I ended up staying for 10 years. I went to go help out for 6 months, and I was living a decent life. I was helping people, and you destroy a lot of lives. You got to put some back together.
Yeah.
You got to balance the scales, and I really got involved with just doing the right thing. You just get up every day with a positive attitude, and you just make it about somebody else.
Yeah.
You make it about getting these guys back to where they need to be. They didn't have to go to prison. I did enough time for all of them. And that's kind of the way that it worked out. And then at about 15 years, I decided it was time to get closer to my son. And
Who was probably an adult.
well, he's going to be 30 years old, so it's like, and I had to let him reach out to me. I had already abandoned him. I had made myself available. Who was I to expect to be a dad when
Yeah.
totally traded him in for the lifestyle that I lived. And things kind of worked out. We're really good friends now, you know, now Pops.
That's so
And
cool.
that took a while
Good
to
for
get.
you. That's awesome. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
that was really good.
Yeah, but Dave then invited me to stop by and see what they're doing, you know, because it's a replication of Delancey Street.
Mm-hmm.
And my God, what they have done there, you know, what Dave and Joseph has done, and just the whole crew, and even the students that are staff now, homegrown talent. You don't know who you are until you're given the opportunity. You really don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Because every single one of us is supposed to be in prison. Every single one of us was, you know, just, you know, hope to, I mean, we were just drug addicts, that's a nice way to dress it up. We were slimy.
Yeah.
So, and because there was nothing else, no other opportunity, we did what we did, and we did it really well.
Yeah.
And you were probably destined to die at a young age as well.
Yeah, you know, who would have ever thought that this would have happened for any of us? But, you know, with the founders of the Other Side Academy and with Dave and the Delancey Street and even the staff, you would never know that they weren't at Delancey Street, but they are.
Yeah.
And they've made this place a home for the Salt Lake City people, the community that needs help.
Right.
It's like we're accepted, we're doing interviews, we're in the jails now, and you know, we're getting into some of the prisons, and it's just like the outreach. It's just an incredible organization. I am so fortunate to have been raised and then be allowed to be a part of it to continue the same. So it's like not even having a job. It's just a great way of life.
Yeah.
You know, some people go to work. I wake up and just get to live my life.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't
You know, it
crazy?
reminds it is, but I totally get it. Like it reminds me, and I'm just gonna go a little bit into what I talk about.
Okay.
Of, you know, like in tribes, in Indian tribes or other tribes, every 7 generations, a new spirit is brought into the tribe that will
Right.
change that tribe. And so you go back to your family history 7 years back. You know, you were the chosen one. Like, you could look at it that way, you know, and so I work with what they call the Akashic records a lot, and that's just, it's a lot about past lifetimes and, you know, DNA,
Yeah.
what's passed on to us generationally. And every, you know, that 7th generation, and right now in this time in history, a lot of light workers are coming together, a lot of, you know, people are changing the world with what's going on. We see like, and because of what you've been through and what, you know, even myself, like we've experienced in our life, we are able to change other people's life because of where we've been. So you are like, that's what you remind me of. So for what that's worth.
Well, and I can see that, 'cause,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, when you got your story, even when you started talking about that you were asked to go to New York, and what you shared when you were there, I was thinking the same thing that Natalie was thinking. I'm like, you were picked to do
Oh, yeah.
exactly this.
And
you
New
had
York-
to go down that road
you
what
had
you
to
went
be-
through to.
Because who could
Yeah.
who could relate to the
Yeah.
people of New York, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what a beautiful story, and that changes the world.
Yeah.
What I remember when Robert and I first met, and he was taking me around, we got up to the front of the store, and there was a gentleman there behind the counter who was running the cash register and all that, and we're talking, and we're fairly close. Like, we're probably about this distance, you know, away from Tasha, and you're like, yeah, see this guy right here that's taking all the money? He was like known as the biggest crook here in Salt Lake City or something like that, you know? He robbed and stole
Oh, yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And here he is behind the counter taking people's money.
Yeah.
And
You
he's
know,
like, that's what this program does.
It does, because those
Yeah.
people, especially, so my grandma, like I said earlier, raised like 300 and something foster boys. 2 of them were from the Crips. So
Yeah.
I grew up, they were my friends, like,
Yeah.
and they were my protectors. They were the only black kids in my junior high, you know, and nobody messed with me. And I loved them. Like, they were my family,
Yeah.
you know, and my grandma gave them that opportunity to change their life. And she saw in them what nobody else chose to see. She gave them, you know, we went boating every weekend. They went to Disneyland. They had nice clothes. And she actually ended up adopting these 2.
Wow.
And they're still like part of our family. So you know, it's just like, had they not had that opportunity, you know, nobody asked to be brought into the world that we actually do contract that, I believe, before we come to Earth. But, you know, like, a child, once they're here on Earth, like, they don't ask for any of those situations. And so it's like we can be the victim and be like, well, I grew up in this home and my parents did this, or I was, you know, this happened to me. No, we agreed, and for me, that's helped me, like, be like, you know what, that's right. Like, I did agree to that, and now here I am, and I have a choice to make it better or teach other people. I mean, how beautiful is that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Robert.
But I also want to do.
created
I'm
all
glad that you said the blame game. There is in no way. Now I know I did at one point, you know, want to blame my upbringing for who I became, but there are people that did something different. There are people that made different choices. I knew the consequences once.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course I had to learn it because it was easier just to blame. But
It is for all of us.
I had opportunities to do other things. I have had many opportunities. I just didn't have the courage or the desire or the willingness to make sacrifices. So I always did what was easy. I could say your parents, you know, I could have had a better set of parents. They just did what they were taught.
Exactly
not
right.
making
Yeah.
excuses
No,
for
but
them.
it's true. It's
So
it's
like,
true.
you know, I hear it so often that people want to, if I would have just did something different, that's the only if.
We always have a
I would be
choice.
some, you know, so, but, you know, I wouldn't trade my past in for anything
Right.
because I think for some reason, you know, the pain to gain thing that, you know, I did all this to learn how to do this, which actually allowed me to be a part of the Salt Lake community with the Other Side Academy. It's almost as if I had to do all that to be a part of something.
Well, you know, in the
that was
tribes, like,
meaningful.
if a shaman, you know, a shaman is like the medicine man of the tribe. They go through what they call a Shaman Awakening, and that means that they have to experience all of these things that their tribe would experience so that they were able to understand and heal the people, you know. So at the age of 12, if they see that child, like every 7th generation or whatever, that has those gifts, then the child at age 12 is taken to live with the shaman, because the shaman is going to guide him through these experiences that he's going to have, right? And help him be able to go through that in a positive way rather than how we were all thrown into it, which is really a beautiful thing. But either way, like, it happens how it happens. Like, you experience what you need to experience so that you can help other people, I guess. So we're not victims. That's just who we chose to be. And I think of like my grandma and the foster boys and stuff, and you know, they came in with such masculinity. Like, they were totally in their ego. They were totally like fight, you know, like, and she loved them and showed them what that felt like and gave them warmth and protection, and you know what I mean. And so that's what I'm saying, the balance of the masculine and feminine. Like, you could look at it like, how do children grow up with just a mom or just a dad? But it's more about like balancing that within ourselves and experiencing what it feels like to be treated with love, instead of just like, yeah, you know, like, good job, you punched that guy, you like whatever you did, you know, like most dads like back in the day did, you know, like my dad was definitely like, you know,
I get it.
taught my brothers, if somebody don't you ever, you know, you let them throw the first punch, but they're not going down, you know, they're going down after that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's not, you can diffuse any situation if you're balanced with your feminine side.
Yeah. What was you gonna say? You was gonna say
No,
something?
I was just gonna think it's comical when she says, you know, good job, you punched your guy. I mean, you get to a point to where it's like you can be in a cell and you can say, hey, what happened? And you know, you just got to jail, and it's like, yeah, I showed this, blah blah blah. What time it is? Looking at my girl. Who did you show what? I'm in jail because some guy looked at
Your beautiful
somebody
girlfriend,
that I'm
yeah.
with. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who cares what his thing was? I'm in jail.
Now she's
He's
free out on the streets.
Who did I show what? I showed him how dumb I am, and how
Right.
weak I am.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like, it's
But when
there's so many things that come back. and
Well,
it's
we
like
learn.
that. Yeah.
It's a learned behavior, and it's
Yeah.
also like an abandonment thing too. Like, I know that ego, like people and myself included, like if you have abandonment issues, you know, and you might not even know about them, but just one circumstance in your life where you felt like your needs weren't all met, then you show up differently. Like, you show up in that ego because you're protecting yourself. But if you are, if you don't, if you show up differently, like, in love is the opposite of ego, right? In a sense, like, to lead with love is opposite than leading with ego. Then I just lost my train of thought. But I said that we all needed to hear that.
Yes, we did. Yeah. Well, and
lead with love. Huh?
yeah, lead with love.
Well, and it's a balance, because ego is not bad. Our ego, we are who we are because of our ego. It's when we use our ego without love, when we're in that narcissistic stage, or that we've got to prove something stage. You know what I mean? Because ego's good. Like, I have an ego. I'm not.
Well, we all do. It's in our DNA. No matter how much we may not like it or we do accept it, it's there.
It's necessary. It drives us to want to do better in life.
And it just depends on how you want to use that.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me the other day. Matter of fact, it was last week. We were talking about money, and they said, "Yeah, money's the root of all evil." And I've heard that throughout my life.
But no.
And I go, that's not true. And they're like, no, and they're getting into the political stuff. And I said, no, because I know people that have money, and they use it for good stuff. They help other people. They feed families, or they clothe families, or they help this person get into rehab, or whatever it may be. So money's the root of all evil, only if it's used for evil.
That's true.
It's that belief system. And you changed your belief system. And you said it earlier in the show that how many people that you hurt, and now you're balancing it out. And I'm just guessing here, but I would think, I got goosebumps even thinking about it, you've probably surpassed that tenfold of how many people you've helped.
Oh, yeah.
Because where you've been, where you went to, what you've done, where you're at right now in your life.
Yeah.
And again, you're helping them because you've lived it, you understand it, and we've said it on the show many times. I don't understand addiction because I've never been in addiction. I mean, I had my moments where I partied my ass off on a Friday and Saturday night, and it was every Friday and Saturday night. You could still probably call it that an addiction. It was kind of more of a recreational thing, but it was still every freaking weekend. But it's also the addict who is going through their stuff, not knowing exactly what the person on the other side is going through, and you've lived it, man. I mean, you were in deep. You spent time in prison, and you hung around some rough dudes, and you roughed people up, and then to be able to grab somebody's life
and got roughed up.
And experience growing up with parents that were addicts, so that also affected you, and so you were like, and generally that's how it is. Like, an addict can be anybody, addicted to work, addicted to, we all have addictions.
Yes, we do. Mine's ice cream.
I agree.
Yeah.
What's the funny part is, I kind of forgot to say, is that towards the end, like that last before my father passed away, about maybe 5 years before that, they decided to change the rules.
Oh.
Here you are, you got 4 of us kids, and now you guys we're no good because you guys want to quit. It's like, hold on, you did this.
Wow.
Are you talking about this system or your parents?
No, parents. They wanted to quit. You can't. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. Hold on, who are you to change the game now?
Yeah, that's when we were talking. Me and Natasha were saying last night that people should have to take a test before they have kids.
Yeah.
When all fail.
Like, you have to test for so many things. Like, why not being able to have children for reals, though? Like, but that's just.
Wow, that was crazy. Yeah.
Holy cow! I'm glad you brought that up.
Dynamic, you know what I mean? Hold on, you.
So is that where abandonment? Is that where you experienced abandonment? Maybe. I mean, certainly you would feel like it.
I'm pretty good at protecting myself, like you said.
There you go.
And you don't have to, I'm not your therapist.
And not being, I mean, I don't know, seriously, I mean, like I said, I've got my beliefs that I've learned how to survive. I do know I put people first. Maybe I should maybe I can't do a little something for myself.
Yeah,
that day.
I think that, you know, from what I've
Self-care.
experienced with drug dealers and stuff, because I live in Ogden. I know a few people, but I mean,
That
like
is not
a
the
lot
first
of them,
time Ogden's been mentioned on this show.
I know, isn't that
O-Town
crazy?
represent.
Yeah.
So, but you know,
It's
a
nuts.
lot of those people, yeah, there are a lot of people that have been on shows, yeah, from Ogden. But a lot of those people are the kindest, like best people that I know. You know,
Yeah.
like friends in low places type thing, you know, and we're all struggling with something, you know.
Absolutely.
So, and it's just that fine line is if you see that opportunity where that person wants to change, or you see the hope that they might have, then that's when you can change their life, like when you can
Right.
speak to them. But if that person's still in that state of like, I'm just gonna go back out and get high or whatever, you know, then they might not be able to hear. But where the programs that you are serving in, you guys have kind of all been through prison, you've all been through all that, and they're
Well,
kind of
we-
humbled down a little.
We know what it takes. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like with the Other Side Academy. I think what we can be proud of is that we do people, not paper.
I like that a lot.
We don't sit here and we actually live and we raise and we grow up as a family. So the minute we accept you, you are a part of our family, and we embrace you as such. We give you everything that you need and more, and we'll even give of ourselves completely. So they go to bed. I'm not going to say that we tuck them in, but they see our faces, and they wake up to our faces. So we're not
And you see the missing
staff.
link.
We're not that. We're
Yeah.
not like this clinical at 4:00. I'm going to go home and I'll see you tomorrow, and you're left to your own devices. So we're there around the clock. We live there all in. You know, there's always one of us or a few of us that are going to be there. So they understand that when we embrace them as family, that's exactly what we
what it
do.
is.
And that's like healing that root chakra, you know. I always talk about that's our foundation, our home
Yeah.
is our root chakra. And, you know, I don't know if you know about chakras, but
No.
so anyways, so that's a whole other
Yeah, it's
show.
a whole nother show.
But that's your inner guidance system. We all have an inner guidance system, and that's where our base, our root chakra is where our foundation and our home and our stability is. And if any of your chakras are out of line, or any of your body, whatever, is out of line, then nothing's going to flow. You have to address the needs of that specific thing. And shelter and sovereignty and security is huge. Because a lot of what's going on is people are just trying to work to pay, their bills, to feed their family, to whatever, to pay their fines. You know what I mean?
Just a survival mode.
Just
and
the-
you can't live like
And
that.
it's
Yeah.
just this
Yeah.
constant. So to take people that have been through that and never had that, maybe, and give that to them, then you're now like wiping the
Yeah.
slate clean. You're
we
like,
give them a hand up, not a put down, and we
Yeah, I
kind
like
of
that.
we extend it to the fact that although that we all do a few things that will irritate the whole world,
yeah,
you got to see the potential in somebody,
Absolutely.
and they don't even know what they're good at unless you give them opportunities, and that's why it's a longer term program, so that we can try them here, and then you know what, by what they're doing here, they would be great here. And let's see what they're going to do so we can set them up for the future, because you don't want to pat them on the back
Yeah.
after 2.5 years. Hey, great job. You worked just fine for us.
See,
no,
yeah.
it's just, no, we set them up with their housing. We set them up with employment. We do baby steps. And we want them to stay involved with us for the next year until they do their next step. And by then they've got this support group that, you just don't become friends
They-
overnight. They
Yeah.
nurture these relationships, and they develop these relationships, and they have what has become a real friendship to where people they can count on and depend on.
Right.
And they just stay connected, and before you know it, all your acquaintances just disappear because they're no good for you.
yeah.
And you develop this larger group of people that just they look out for your well-being. Even if it hurts the relationship, they need to be able to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Until you can come to terms and say, hey, thank you, you were right.
Yeah.
love
And
that.
that is so huge.
That is, for me, it's like, so I got sober on my own, but that's what the Tribe of Giants is for me, or has been for
I was
me.
just thinking the same
It's
thing.
like they're always positive, they're always there for you when you need it, and
Not
they're just
judgmental.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's just,
no
yeah.
judgment.
Yeah.
Holding
no
space.
judgment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's people
Who
that's
would we be to judge?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
and it's people who have gone through so much in their life and overcome. I was having this conversation with my mom. You know, my mom and dad go to Yuma every year for the winter, and my mom was talking to me about how she needs to start thinking a little bit more highly of herself, but it's too late. And I says, Mom, it's never too late. She goes, well, you know, I'm in my 70s, and this is how I've lived my life. And it's that blame game and that feel sorry for me type thing. Not saying that's what she's doing, but you know, I've said many times, it's never too late to work on yourself, and there's no finish line when it comes to working on yourself. It's a constant leap, constant step, always going towards something. And you know, and she goes, I don't know, maybe I need to start working on things. And I'm like, Mom, look, and I says, I love you, and I says, I'm just gonna be flat ass honest with you. And I just told her how I felt about things, and it's like she's been knocked down all her life. She's been knocked down, and she just thinks she's worthless, and she doesn't have a purpose when there really is. And that's what I also like about the other side of Academy is you really do start helping people see who they truly are inside that they don't even know that's inside of them. And you guys help them go through that. Everybody that Jeanette and I met when we were there, so respectful. I mean, I'm like, man, I could surround myself around these people all frickin' day long every day, because those are the type of people I like to be around, you know? So you guys do a hell of a job there. And yeah, and did you want to say something before we go to a break?
I just had something come to me. You know, a lot of that is breaking our our belief systems that we grew up around, or that we've been told by guards, or, you know, like in prison, or the other mates, or whatever. Like, that's who we believe we are, but we can also transmute that and change that, because our thoughts become our words, and our words are magic, right? And so if you want to change, you have to change your thoughts first.
Exactly
Yep.
right.
Start speaking
For
it
sure.
into, yeah.
Well, guys, we're going to stop for a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Good morning, this is Leticia with Computer Hospital. We are your computer repair experts for both PC and Mac. We are your community resource for all of your computer repair needs. What makes us different is that we want to fix your computer. We also do free diagnostics. We charge a flat rate labor, which means that you won't pay by the hour. All of our computer repair is done in-house with a fast turnaround time, and same-day service is also available. Feel free to stop by anytime without an appointment. We're located in Sandy at 8721 South State Street. Again, that's 8721 South State Street, or call us at 801-987-3993. Again, that's 801-987-3993. This is Leticia with Computer Hospital, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Hello there, this is Brad Neufeld with the Resilience Talk Network, and I would like to introduce to you Taffy Town, one of our newest sponsors. Let me introduce you to Derek.
Hi, I'm Derek from Taffy Town. We're proud sponsors of the Other Side of Addiction podcast. Taffy Town is a family-owned and operated business still operating in the Salt Lake City area for over 100 years. We manufacture some of America's best saltwater taffy.
What makes Taffy Town stand out from all of the others?
We have a unique recipe, a whipped-style recipe that incorporates egg whites, evaporated milk, real sea salt. It's a unique product that is flavorful, melts in your mouth, and the best part is we probably have a flavor for anyone's liking, a flavor for any reason, for any season. We have unique flavors like chicken and waffles, maple bacon, frosted cupcake. New this year was a pineapple ghost pepper flavor.
That's awesome. Where can people find out more about Taffy Town and all of its products?
You can check all of this stuff out. All of our products are available for sale on taffytown.com. We ship for free from our website, so all of our pricing on there is shipping included. Oftentimes we offer special promotions and discounts to our loyal customers, so do be sure to sign up for an account, and we look forward to seeing what we can do to make you smile with our taffy.
Where are you located?
We are currently located at 9813 South Prosperity Road in West Jordan, Utah, just at the foothills of the Copper Canyon mine.
Derek, taffy has always been a great gift to give. What are some of the creative ways Taffy Town can help say thank you to others?
Yeah, if you're looking for gift ideas, whether to say thank you to friends or family, or maybe to your clients after such a difficult or successful year that you've had, you could look no further than to get a gift idea from taffytown.com. We offer pre-packaged gift boxes that say that it's saltwater taffy from the city of the Great Salt Lake, and it tells a little bit about the history of our community and making candy for so long. You can also do customized gifts to pick out just the right flavors or colors of candy for that special someone, and deliver even a personalized message in that box to them. So please feel free to check out taffytown.com for any gift ideas this season.
Thank you so much, Derek. Please visit taffytown.com. That's taffytown.com to find out more about the products and services that Taffy Town offers. You won't be disappointed.
Do you know someone who's gambling with death due to an addiction? Do you know someone whose life is being turned upside down due to a loved one that's battling with addiction? Hi, I'm Al Richards. I am the host of the Other Side of Addiction podcast. I started the podcast due to my wife's battle with alcohol. Let's just say I became addicted to her addiction. Our podcast is helping people understand a little more about those who have battled addiction and those who are hurting from their addiction. Through raw vulnerability, we share stories that help uncover the root causes of addiction. Shame felt on both sides, matter of the conscious and subconscious mind, continued beliefs, and often confusing paths of recovery. We collaborate with real people and their stories, as well as licensed professionals, to help our audience gain a better understanding of addiction. You can find us on Resilience Talk Network. You can also find us on Facebook at Mr. Al Richards. That's Facebook at Mr. Al Richards. You can also find us on YouTube. Just look up the Other Side of Addiction podcast. All right, guys, welcome back. We're just here to finish this up. And again, this episode is brought to you by Rick Heaton, attorney at law. Babe, thanks for being here with us today.
Yep.
Nicole, thank you. Thank you for
Natalie.
coming. Or Natalie.
I love you.
Nicole.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm a butcher.
Natalie Rose Smith.
Nicole's been on the show too many times. So yes,
I know.
Natalie, thank you so much for being that. Am I blushing?
You will be here soon. You're getting pretty red over there.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. And Robert, my gosh, man,
Thank
great
you.
show. Yes, thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey. And now you're out there helping hundreds and hundreds of people and changing their lives. So thank you so much, for being here. Greatly appreciate it. And I'm blessed that you and I had a chance to meet. I'm glad that we had an opportunity to meet a couple months ago, and Robin picked you to come on the show, or basically told you, or Robin's pretty, she's pretty,
Yeah.
This is how it's gonna be.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So to end this, what is something that you can share with our audience? Something of strength or a journey, or just something that's gonna let them know, man, it's never too late.
Well, I mean, we both know that it is never too late, and anything is possible. You just have to have the desire to want to do the work.
There you go.
I mean, nobody owes us anything, and if you want a life, you have to want to put the work in. And if you stop making it about yourself, your life becomes wonderful. I mean, I've learned that, I was so, you become so self-absorbed in what can I do for me? It's what can I do for others, which in turn, this whole journey has been about helping others. And, and the Other Side Academy has made that possible for me, is to help others because of just the whole dynamics of it. And in turn, I just have a wonderful life.
I love it.
You make it about others, and you have a great, the blessings are you can't even count.
Yeah, the blessings come back to you tenfold.
Yeah.
And some of them are very tiny. I mean, I want people to know too, keep your eyes open, because blessings are happening to us on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
But
They
sometimes
sure are.
we're so closed-minded, we've got those damn blinders on of what's going on around life. We don't actually see little teeny blessings that's happened. So
We woke up
Yeah.
this morning.
We can breathe.
that's exactly right. That's
We
a
woke
blessing.
up.
Oh, yes, every day.
Right.
We're alive.
I'll share a little personal thing. So I have a routine that I do every single morning when I get up, and I give myself enough time so I can do this routine before I go to the gym and do my stuff. But first thing I write down in my journal, and that's after I say my prayers. I'm a spiritual person. I still put down, thank you God and Jesus for this day. And it's because, and at the end, I put it in my journal at the end of the day, thank you for blessing me with this day, and thank you for today's blessings. And it's because I got to see another day. Because I grew up with some people, friends that we've been friends since we were kids, and they're no longer here, and sometimes I have to take a deep breath when I hear people say, oh, I'm just getting old, and they're in their 50s and things like that. And the way I want to see it, there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that if they could come back because they're no longer with us, they wish they could have made it to their 50s. So we all need to be blessed, so yeah. Guys, thank you. What an
Thank you.
incredible show.
It was really good.
This is awesome. Hey, I used incredible instead of phenomenal, but it was also phenomenal. That's like my word. Everybody teases me because I
Yes.
use
It was
phenomenal.
magnificent.
Magnificent, bodacious, tripendicular. It was
Rad.
all of
It was
the above.
rad.
It was rad. So guys, thank you again to all our listeners. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for the messages that we get. We get so many cool messages from people that have been on the show and just listen to the show. So we're very grateful to all of you, and we're very grateful for all our sponsors. We've had enough shows to where you guys have heard me repeat how many sponsors we have. So we just want to say thank you to all of them, because again, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for you guys. And a big shout out to Brad, the owner of Resilience Talk Network, again for opening up his studio and allowing us to do this here. So we wish everybody an incredible day, and we're going to leave you with this as we do every week. Remember, addiction is giving up everything for one thing. Recovery is giving up one thing for everything. We're out.